economic reforms seem to be paying off. Now, investors are flowing in and the budget deficit there has reduced. The North African nation reports a balance of payments surplus of $13.7 billion for the year ending June 30th, compared with a $2.8 billion deficit a year earlier. Now, the country reports a $16 billion of net investments in its debt and equities last year, compared to an outflow of about $1.3 billion over the previous 12 months. Now, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has also announced that the budget deficit dropped to 9.5% in the quarter ending June 2017. That's down from about 11.5% in the same quarter last year. Egypt removed most restrictions on its currency in November in a bid to end a foreign exchange crisis. And so far, it has been tightening control of its finances in line with an ambitious economic reform program. Well, Yasser Kim now joins us in Cairo with more on this subject. Yasser, as always, welcome to the show. Now, we saw about $16 billion flowing into Egypt's debt and equity markets. Give us a sense of the segments of the economy that are seeing an influx in foreign investments.
Well, there are several segments. First of all, the real estate have been doing very well in attracting foreign investments, especially from Arab countries. Arab investors, Gulf investors have been putting a lot of money in the real estate sector, and obviously the tourism sector that has been rebounding in the last year, making an uplink of about 40 to 45% improvement on 2016 until now. You've got also the infrastructure projects. Egypt needs a lot of infrastructure projects as it rebuilds its infrastructure to attract more companies and industries to open up, as well as to get out of the closed cities of Cairo and the Nile Delta into the vast area of Egypt that has been uninhabited. And then you've got the new industrial zones that have been opening in several areas, such as the Suez Canal, and they have been attracting a lot of investments there. Especially Chinese and Russians have been leading the investments coming to Suez Canal at the moment. So there are several sectors that have been benefiting in the last couple of years.
Now, Yasser, this is all great news, but what exactly does this mean for the country's economy? Of course, given the fact that it's been struggling with FX shortages as well as soaring inflation, which is at about 30% now. So exactly how is this trickling down to the economy?
Yeah, it's been very tough, the lack of hard currency a year or more ago has had an effect on basically every part of the economy and has kept investors away. Now this has eased a lot. The foreign currency reserves have reached an historic high of over $36 billion. So that's the highest Egypt has had recently. Also, we've seen an influx of Egyptian expats sending their remittances. That also increased by more than 30%, and this brings a lot of hard currency to the country. Obviously, the flotation of the pound has led to better results in the export market. So exports have also increased, bringing in more foreign exchange, as well as lower imports. The government has been lowering, putting a lot of tariffs, and obviously the floating of the pound has led to higher prices for imports. So imports went down. This all balanced the situation. Egyptians have also been changing dollars or hard currency into Egyptian pounds because of the high interest rates in banks, which had reached around 20%. So this made it even better to have Egyptian pound rather than dollar, more attractive to have pounds than dollars or hard currency. And all this has managed to keep the Egyptian pound a bit stable against the hard currency after the inflation. So you're talking about inflation 30%. This is an improvement. It reached 33% more than 3 months ago. So we've seen an improvement, and this is overall in the economy is beginning to show some dividends.
Now, Yasser, like you mentioned, this all signals an improvement in competitiveness in Egypt. But how is this impacting the population, which we know is struggling with rising prices after those subsidy cuts?
Yes, this is the most painful part of any austerity measures you'd see in any country. Obviously, the low-income segment of the society is the one that suffers the most. And it was the same here in the last year. Obviously, reducing subsidies has caused a lot of issues for the low income. Also, the increasing the prices of oil, fuel, electricity. All this has balanced the budget and improved the numbers, but obviously had its toll on the population. Now, at the same time, the government has been embarking on projects for social funding projects, social solidarity projects that would help the low-income segment of society, increasing the minimum wage as well, and also funding and pumping a lot of money into small and medium enterprises to try to encourage the Egyptians to have small businesses, funding these businesses at low cost. So the inflation and improvement in inflation has also been showing signs for the normal Egyptians, but I think they would really feel the difference maybe in a year's time, not so quickly, maybe not this year, but probably next year, 2018, we might see improvement in the way the living conditions would be felt, especially for the low-income Egyptians.
Well, many thanks, Yasser, for those insights. Yasser Hakim joining us there in Cairo. Well,